Hey, what's up? Back at you with another video. We are here looking at Citizen Concerned, and she is calling Herman Mashaba Judas Mashaba, all for GNU posts. And we're going to be watching her. We're fresh off her video where she criticized Gayton McKenzie. She's definitely going after those who agree with the raising of taxes in South Africa, and she's pointing out those who, in her shoes, are the sellouts from her point of view. Let's get it.
I laughed so hard when I saw this little post that I'm about to share with you just now. The first thing I thought about was the story of Judas Iscariot, the traitor that sold Jesus out. In this story, we are the ones that have been betrayed by Comrade Judas Mashaba, Herman Iscariot. One might think that I'm just goofing around until you realize that Judas Mashaba has betrayed the people over a few pieces of silver, definitely like his biblical counterpart. To understand this, please look at ActionSA's post on YouTube from not so long ago. It reads, ActionSA has taken note of media reports from the ANC's National Working Committee meeting last night, which denotes a plan to reconstruct the GNU to include ActionSA. ActionSA stresses that the party will not entertain this proposal until the VAT increase and income tax bracket creep are resolved. The elimination of these hikes is our primary focus, and the party won't discuss any other matter until these issues are resolved to the satisfaction of South Africans. Imagine that! The 30 pieces of silver for Judas Mashaba were the GNU positions. The guy willingly risked the little reputation his party had for the sake of the GNU slots that would open due to the DA being kicked out or removing themselves from the GNU. He hopes the DA is going to be kicked out for voting against the fiscal framework.
You've been maybe not formally or officially, but ultimately you've been invited to join the GNU
in the beginning.
I'm saying even right now.
We said it's a condition.
But it would be without the Democratic Alliance.
No,
without that.
We did not to say without the GA.
Okay.
Anyone who's going to vote against the budget. So the GA voted against the budget. So therefore, we did not say anyone at the time because we didn't know who was going to vote against the government. We said to the ANC, any party that is going to vote against this framework must be kicked out.
Imagine that, huh? Anyone who votes against the framework should be kicked out, and thus the citizens of South Africa were betrayed by the people who are meant to fight for them. ActionSA is so eager to join the ANC that it didn't really take time to consider their actions carefully. This little post from ActionSA is simply a similar walk to Judas Iscariot of the Bible. Once he realized what he had done, he tried to get rid of the silver that he had gained from the sale of his Lord. Herman Mashaba should embrace his 30 pieces of silver and occupy his positions with pride, knowing full well that he earned these positions by selling out the people, by exposing the people to VAT increases, by strengthening the ANC.
Hey, the season for people calling sellouts is back. Yeah. Calling people sellouts is here now. We last saw this when I was a kid, when people would get a tire wrapped around them. And now she's saying, let's go after these traitors. Let's hound them until we catch them or they kill themselves.
When the ANC had so little power. Let's say the ANC honors its word to ActionSA and makes sure that it puts aside their mission to hike the VAT percentage rate. To me, it will not matter at all. I am now aware that ActionSA is too reckless, more reckless than I ever thought. And no one should waste their vote on them anymore. I wasted my vote last time, but not again. ActionSA was simply a waste, exposing people to the ANC when the mission should be eradicating and exterminating the ANC. Instead of sticking to the mission, we have people like Judas Mashaba giving oxygen to this dinosaur. I think now we know why ActionSA worked on resurrecting the ANC. They sold out their voters in order to get a seat at the table when they had said no to the GNU just last year.
And I'd like to hear from your side. What do you mean when you say you will play a constructive opposition in Parliament? What will that mean in practice?
ActionSA's strong views about the ANC notwithstanding, we are a political party that has to recognize that the world of politics has become a team sport post the 2024 elections. And even if we will not enter the coalition environment with the ANC or this grand coalition that they are convening, we are responsible for representing the aspirations of many South Africans, and we have a role to play. The idea that you can only participate in this team sport in government is a bad idea. And that is why it was important for us to engage the ANC and to inform them by what we mean of a constructive opposition going forward.
Why has ActionSA rejected the government of national unity?
Faith, we must be clear. The ANC may have lost its majority, but it hasn't lost its tendencies. And those tendencies are going to continue whether it has a majority or not. Someone needs to be able to hold them to account. And we will hold this government to account, especially in those moments when the opposition starts to do what is expedient because they're now in bed with the government. Those are the moments that are going to require an unofficial opposition from parties like ActionSA. We're going to be clear to say for the worst. We don't see any scenario where the ANC continuing as the heart of government going forward is going to deliver change. We have always taken the position from an ActionSA standpoint that you cannot fix the problem in partnership with the problem.
We are going to be a constructive opposition. Now, Herman Iscariot wants to reluctantly join the GNU.
But obviously, if I'm demanded to really play that role,
Okay.
I will really play.
What some people are now branding you as the incoming Home Affairs Minister. I'm sure you've seen. Are you prepared to be one of those people that have the capacity in ActionSA that assists in the GNU?
Well, Clement, I've indicated to people of South Africa if they can allow me to play the space and the role of, from outside. But in the event that I'm needed in some way, I will reluctantly do it. I think
Judas was bold when he was acting out the betrayal. A few days later, he wanted to throw away his pieces of silver after bargaining with the devil.
Hey, you see, now we are looking at a white movie depicting Christ. And you know that this is problematic. I don't know how you don't know this. The Bible condemns the attempt to depict the Lord in some kind of way. Hey, some quick shameless self-promotion over here. If you love and enjoy this channel and you also happen to love dope gadgets, you can support my new baby, my new startup, my new retail venture, Gadget Plug. In case you've only ever known me as a YouTuber, you'll be glad to know that I'm also a wedding and documentary film producer, pro video editor, and all-round entrepreneur with a love for high-end gadgets like cinema cameras, gaming consoles, powerful GPUs, computers, and mobile phones. And my electronics store Gadget Plug is your new go-to place for the latest and greatest in tech. We're talking real gadgets, real quality, real quick, at the best prices in all of South Africa. To know more about this, head on over to my website imneo.co.za and check out my e-commerce store today. As we officially kick off business, Gadget Plug has stock right now of iPhone 16 Pro Max in 256 and 512 gig at 25,000 and 28,000 respectively. Simply press the green button at the bottom of my website if you want to inquire, and one of my friendly customer service agents will attend to you. Thank you very much for your support. And now back to the video. In fact, let me find and cue here a discussion where a man, a pastor, black American by the name of Vodi Bokham, I think he's referred to as Bishop Vodi Bokham, where he's being interviewed and he's being asked about the whiteness, the blackness of Christ or Christianity, the images of a white Christ, what that is about.
But before I let you go, brother, you go around the entire world, literally the whole planet, and you preach what you call to be truth. Do you tell the white evangelicals you preach to they need to get rid of that picture of white Jesus?
I tell them they need to get rid of pictures of Jesus, period, because it's a violation of the second commandment.
But I think Jesus is okay.
A picture of Jesus is a violation of the second commandment. So I don't want to see any pictures of Jesus because it's a violation of the second commandment. It's a graven image.
Tell them to get rid of their white Jesus.
It's a graven image. They need to get rid of it. They shouldn't be pictures of Jesus.
Doc, I got to bring you back on when we have more time. But I appreciate you, man. You're a good sport, brother. All right. Thank you, sir.
And ladies and gentlemen, you've just heard that, right? These movies, though, at the same time, have some kind of educational purposes. The Lord will judge. These movies are made by people in Hollywood, people who've got cameras, editing PCs. It's an industry that I know and I understand. Nothing really blows me away when I see the Son of God depicted as a white guy with the cast, everyone else being Caucasian white. And there's a new movie called The Chosen. It's a series that chose an Arabic dude. Is he Arabic? But it's a guy who looks like it. He might be from Argentina or something like that, if I'm remembering. That itself as well, though so many people loved it and they cried tears seeing Christ, Christians who are really for and about Christ watched the movie and also followed up to find out who are the creators of the movie and what they actually believe, what motivates them to make that kind of movie, and to check whether they actually believe in the right theology about Christ. It was to be found that they are kind of Mormons, and Mormons are a cult of Christianity under and started by a man, Joseph Smith. It's just like a ZCC. It's a white ZCC, very much, if you don't know or understand what the Mormons are. So Joseph Smith has these group of people who believe in a Jesus who was a brother of the devil. It's a different story that Joseph Smith claims to have received, and received in weird ways from inside of a hat. He said from a top hat, a voice came out and he started writing. It's something like how Muhammad was in a cave and something overcame him. We say that it was a demon. And then he started to speak and he appointed somebody to write. And the Quran was born. So for those who know me to be Christian, and I've been enjoying Katlego's analogy, she's now playing a clip there showing something that I don't really agree with. The Son of God was spirit, and spirit has no color. The work of God, his work of teaching people obedience, God started with a small test group, and his teachings to them, his relationship with those people was to be an example to everyone. There was to be a recording of his law in a book. God intended for his law to be contained in a book and for us to be reading it today. So for that to take place, there was a context, there was a group of people, there was opposition, there are enemies around them, and then there was the recording of that movie for us to read and understand. This is how God wants us people to relate with him. The Jews were just an example for a time. In fact, the Jews went on to reject Jesus. So we who are Christian are not Jews, are not Jewish. We are not Israeli. We are not pro-Israel, the secular Israel. You understand? So let's just carry on. I hope those who want to know my position on these things are starting to hear me.
Days later, he wanted to throw away his pieces of silver after bargaining with the devil, full of regret. Judas Mashaba too was bold when he was betraying his voters. Now, in regret, he is posting this on social media.
Is that if you come and negotiate with us, VAT and this income tax creep is not going to be there. So come back to us. If you believe the VAT is continuing, don't waste your time and our time. Secondly, then we would want the president to reconstitute a cabinet, because you cannot expect, it has never happened anywhere in the world where you can have ministers actually implementing a budget that they voted against. It's unheard of. It's unacceptable.
Thanks to ActionSA, Patriotic Alliance, IFP, and other Judas Iscariots, basically it is now up to the ANC to do as they please. The ANC will do as they want. ActionSA handed the power to the ANC in the pursuit to kill the DA. Such sorry imbeciles. Guys, these politicians don't realize that the time to campaign for 2026 and 2029 is now. The time to do right by us is now. Why would we vote for parties that are incompetent, traitors, and hate-driven? We will not do that. That is my message to you. See the Judas Iscariots in this country. Never forget them and never vote for them. Mark them for special expulsion from our parliament. They are unworthy to receive salaries and perks from our taxes.
Katlego, one day the Democratic Alliance is going to agree with the ANC. You will see this. The horse trading, the capitulation, the giving up of your position. Now we know this as former members of the EFF. While in the EFF, we could see that this is a leftist organization that is also mirroring itself with the left in the United States. So we were not surprised when we found ourselves in the EFF being pro-black, pro-African values, pro-family, if those are African values. Till this day, we found ourselves now standing side by side with the homosexuals, people who are against family, against straight marriage, who are pro-gay marriage. And for a time, we're like, hey, what's about at least hanyane, let's have some numbers to stand against the common enemy that is whiteness. And now we are also standing with the Muslims, people who are completely opposed to Christ. We're busy standing with them, and in standing with them, you start standing with Hamas. So this world is a very hectic one. So one day you will compromise. We'll be watching when you compromise. We'll be seeing when you compromise. And you should be giving us what you think should be done so that we can see, Luena, if you make ridiculous conditions that cannot be met. I just did a video recently too of my response to King Said So, a guy who is Pan-African, pro-EFF, pro-staying separated from the white people, who is against negotiations with the Freedom Front Plus. The debate is ongoing, and I think Baswaba, some who are now looking at the news and seeing that the EFF say they came out with a constructive discussion. The EFF accepts that they couldn't get expropriation without compensation. So now they are dangling the possibility of paying the people of Orania some compensation there for them to integrate. And they are making these concessions. If you're going to be hardcore and you're going to call people both Judas Mashaba and traitors and sellouts, Linna, I'm currently being called a sellout for wanting the EFF to talk with the Freedom Front Plus and the people of Orania. For standing against King Said So's opinion, I am being called a Katlego. I'm being called a you. Nahanang. But we leave it for now. Let's let you finish. I'm out of here.
What do you say? Let us know in the comments section below. And please share.
Yeah. And like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hope you are enjoying this world, this environment, this community where our enemies seem to be talking with us, talking our language, or maybe trying to ingratiate and fool us by talking about Christ. We remember that you were all violent here calling for the Homo sapiens to be wiped out by Neanderthals. But it's all interesting, it's all dope, it's all nice. Let's see how South Africa can get transformed by us, these people who are talking over here, and hopefully we are also influencing those in parliament to act, because they can hear how active South Africans are moving and speaking these issues and keeping up with them. I will see you next time.